So many good stories for you today. I hope you are very well. Princess Catherine exacts revenge on Meghan Markle in the most devastating way possible, following an extraordinary and shocking slur by the Duchess about Catherine. I'll give you the inside story on Prince Harry's desperate move to regain his popularity in the UK. Utterly embarrassing stuff. William and Catherine's extraordinary teamwork and love affair were in full view in Scotland this week. And at the end of the video, find out how I was disturbed in my preparations for today's show by my neighbour's cat, Regge. Outrageous scenes. Doesn't he realise that this is supposed to be a professional television studio? All of that's to come. But first, things are now reported to be so bad between William and Harry that the Prince of Wales may not invite his own brother to his coronation when he becomes king. Now, this all started with the BBC interview that Harry did, a very traitorous interview, straight after losing his court case against the UK government for armed royal security in the UK. Harry went on the BBC and peddled a lot of wild conspiracy theories, including the idea that this was an establishment stitch-up. I'm sorry, Harry, you're not that important. The establishment don't care about you anymore because you have left. So he said that, but more egregiously, he suggested that there were figures within the palace, within the firm, within the royal machinery that wanted him to suffer the same fate as his mother, Princess Diana. Now, that's a shocking thing to allege. The idea that there's anyone within palace circles that wishes harm on Harry, of course not, because he is respectively their son, their brother, their cousin, their uncle. Yes, they're irritated by the guy, but blood is thicker than water. They still love the guy. There's no way that anybody at Buckingham Palace wishes harm on Prince Harry. But that's how deluded the guy has become. That's how poisoned his mind has become. The guy's deluded. He's on another planet, probably because of all of those jazz cigarettes he smoked in his 20s. Terrible for the brain, let me tell you. What you got to do, stick to the decaf. Keeps you sharp. Sharp as a die. Sharp as a tack, I think is the expression. By the way, enjoying this with a splash of double cream, which the Americans call heavy cream. And I love me some heavy cream. So listen, this was the allegation made in the BBC interview. This is the allegation that appears to have upset Prince William the most. And it's this idea that the firm wish harm on Harry. And the big problem that Harry's got is that from that interview, he allowed a perception to take hold that one of the figures that wished for Harry to suffer the same fate as his late mother Diana was his own brother William. That's not been denied by Harry. He should have come out straight after the interview and said, by the way, when I talked about figures who wished me harm, I did not mean my brother. No such statement was made. Therefore, yes, it could be Chinese whispers to make a link between this idea that there are people who quite happily do away with Harry, and maybe that person could be his brother. Yes, it's Chinese whispers, but it's also perfectly reasonable to make that calculation because Harry has become so bitter and so deranged and so toxic that it's possible that his head has gone to that dark place. So, the Insider has spoken to the Mail, and following that shocking interview, the Insider has said, I just put my pen in my ear, which is not a good idea, is it? You're not supposed to put your pen in your ear. I do hope my physician is not watching. I do hope my physician is not watching, although he will confirm that I'm in robust good health, because I don't smoke any of Prince Harry's jazz cigarettes. I stick to the decaf and the heavy cream. A Palace Insider has told the Mail, in terms of Prince William, I think it's done. I don't think there's any coming back from that interview. The Insider goes on, before the interview, we thought, come on, William, extend a hand. But now it seems that Harry hasn't learned SHIT. There you go, family show. Okay, so I won't say that word, but this Insider says that Harry hasn't learned SHIT and therefore hasn't learned his lesson. The Insider goes on that William is mulling over the possibility of not inviting his own brother to his coronation when he becomes king. Now, let's hope that's many decades from now. King Charles is not well, but he is on the right side of his cancer battle. And let's hope that this is a very academic conversation about when that coronation happens. And let's hope that Harry and William are both old men. But even under those circumstances, it appears to be that it's on the table now on the part of William to not invite his son to his coronation. Now, this is the nuclear button. I mean, that is Armageddon. If Harry is banned from this coronation, I mean, to say he's out of the family, I mean, Harry is in another stratosphere. He is in a different section of the universe. In fact, he's in an area outside of the universe and 1,000 miles beyond that. Can you imagine the scenario in which William becomes king? He has his coronation, and what a coronation it will be, with Catherine by his side, Queen Catherine and King William, and no Harry. Let me know in the comments, do you think that William should press the nuclear button? Do you think that Harry should be uninvited or not invited at all from the ceremony? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But what I will say, just struggling with a little touch of almond butter, which has crept into my palate. Do you enjoy the almond butter? I think it's a thinking man's peanut butter. Bit healthier, apparently, I'm told. My body's a temple. My physician will confirm that. I can show you some x-rays in the next show. How about that? Can I be honest with you? I'm not perfect, but I have an absolutely splendid skeleton. My skeleton is... Anyway, old Harry will be a ghost of his former self. He'll be a skeleton if he's not invited to William's coronation. But it's extraordinary that this insider has laid out the prospect, the very real possibility, that William bans Harry from his coronation ceremony. Who could blame him? Who could blame him? Why would you want that traitor, the prodigal prince, at your ceremony? Because that day is about William and it's about Catherine. It's not about Harry, and it's certainly not about my husband. I call him H. Oh, didn't you know I'm not Meghan Markle anymore? I'm Meghan Sussex. So it's not about those two. So I doubt that Meghan would be present at the ceremony. I imagine the compromise, as with so many of these things, the compromise would be Harry on his own, the H-bomb. But does William really want his brother, Prince Harry, sat there at the coronation in Westminster Abbey, feeling incredibly sorry for himself, a professional victim, sat there in a posh suit, just going, humpy-dumpy-dumpy-dum, poor Prince Harry, he's the heir, I'm the spare, I've got such a terrible life, in a mansion in Montecito with 16 bathrooms, humpy-dumpy-dumpy-dum, millions of dollars in the bank, world fame, privilege beyond anyone's dreams. What a terrible life I've got. No, of course not. Because that is what the Americans would call a buzzkill. Have you heard that expression? It's when something really great is happening and there's a person that's got negative energy and they destroy the atmosphere, and it's called a buzzkill. We all know people, don't we, at work and maybe in our private lives, who are responsible for a buzzkill. We have buzzkill type people. Well, Harry is the absolute king of the buzzkill. He is the Duke of buzzkill. And it is quite clear that he would spoil the coronation because he'd sit there, he'd feel sorry for himself. All the cameras would be on him and he'd have that sad, silly old face, like a smacked backside. You know, oh, poor my terrible life. You know, and he would make it about himself, because I'm beginning to realize we've characterized, haven't we, Meghan as quite the narcissist, obsessed with fame, obsessed with her ego and with power. Actually, Harry's no better. Harry's a bit of a narcissist too. He's totally up himself. And by the way, he's had far too much therapy, which is why he is so navel gazing. And that's what would happen if he was at the coronation. He'd be miserable, he'd be sending out the negative vibes, and it would become a big, big story. And I don't think that William should let Harry be the story of his coronation. Therefore, I personally, I'm going to stick my neck out. If I was the king, I would banish Harry from my coronation, because there's no way that he should be part of a ceremony that celebrates an institution to which the H-bomb, Harry, has caused so much damage. And the reason why William is considering, according to this insider, the reason why William is willing to press the nuclear button and not invite Harry to his coronation is because William is apoplectic with rage. He is beyond angry. He's incandescent. And rightly so. And I'll tell you for why. Because William has a sense of propriety, of discretion, of decency. William knows the difference between right and wrong, which Harry doesn't anymore. That's why Harry just inhabits this sort of toxic, amoral universe now, where he can potentially accuse his own brother of wishing physical harm on him, which is just the biggest lie and the biggest madness. The guy's lost the plot. He's not right in the head. Harry, if you've had therapy, ask for your money back, because it's made you much, much worse. So William may press the nuclear button, may ban his brother from the coronation. And the other reason why he won't want this to become the Harry show. And Harry, of course, would love to spoil the party. But the other reason is because William is very protective of the monarchy. He's very protective of his wife, who has been attacked by the Sussexes. And he's very protective of his father, who's been to hell and back as a result of the prodigal prince. Now, the royal author Hugo Vickers has said theoretically William should invite Prince Harry, but quite frankly, he can do what he likes. Ouch! Oh, come on. He can do what he likes. Do you know why William can do what he likes? Because on that very sad day of the passing of Charles, William will be king. He'll be king of the United Kingdom, and he can do what he likes, which is fantastic news. And what I'd like William to flex his muscles and to exert his influence. Hugo Vickers, who's a brilliant royal author, pointed out there is a precedent for the uninviting of a family member. The Duke of Windsor was not invited to Queen Elizabeth II's coronation in 1953. So it is possible that that could happen. The other speculation is about whether those HRH titles and the Duke and Duchess titles should be removed, which is possible on the occasion of William becoming king. And Hugo Vickers says that he shouldn't do that because he says it would look vindictive. Well, I would like it to look vindictive. I'd like Harry to suffer a public humiliation. I'd like him to experience a flogging, metaphorically. And I'd like him to be subject to vindictive, revengeful behavior. And they say revenge is a dish best served cold. Well, how good would that be, right? The titles are gone, Duke and Duchess of Sussex, which the only reason the couple have kept those titles is for money. So lose those titles, which they've exploited for cash, and of course HRH, which they weren't supposed to use anyway, but they've ignored that unspoken agreement. So there is a suggestion there. The titles are irrelevant, says Hugo Vickers. They're meaningless at this point. No one thinks they're royal anyway. Yes, you're right, but they've got to be stripped of those titles. So that's my prescription. No ticket to the coronation, no front row seats, no HRH, and no Duke and Duchess. Let me know what you think about that. Let me get you to our next story, which is just explosive. And this is Princess Catherine's response to the accusation by Meghan Markle that Princess Catherine is cold, is not tactile, and is not someone that will give you a hug. Now, speaking in the 2022 Netflix docuseries Harry and Meghan, which was a truly horrific televisual experience, I've watched Stephen King movies that were less chilling, that were less horrific, that gave me less flashbacks, that were less disturbing than Harry and Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex. Now, she spoke about the moment that she first met the couple together, William and Catherine, and she suggested that William and Catherine found hugging jarring. I beg your pardon. What an extraordinary thing to say. The direct quote is, even when William and Catherine came over and I had met her for the first time, they came over for dinner. I remember I was in ripped jeans and I was barefoot. Right, first of all, that was your first mistake. How dare you greet the future king and queen of the United Kingdom in ripped jeans? Are you out of your tiny mind? I mean, let me ask you, would you greet the future king and queen of the United Kingdom, Catherine and William, in ripped jeans? I mean, she's as much of a lunatic as Harry. And barefoot. I mean, what are we in Calcutta now? What is this, downtown San Francisco? Were you living in a tent at that point? Did you have a dog on a string? And a used Starbucks mug for a loose change? For goodness sakes, Meghan. How dare you? How dare you? No, I mean, seriously, I'm shocked about that. Do you not think that's insane? I remember I was in ripped jeans and I was barefoot. How can you be proud of that? I mean, I've got, if I met my friends, if I've just like regular friends from, in my life, if they came round, I wouldn't greet them in ripped jeans. It's disrespectful. It's trashy, isn't it? That's Meghan. So she said she was in ripped jeans, barefoot. I'm reeling from that. I mean, what went through William's head when he saw Meghan's bare feet, which I've not seen her feet, but I'm curious of the condition of those feet. I would imagine Meghan's feet are rather twisted and bruised, and I'd imagine there's thick skin there, wouldn't you say? I would have thought that Catherine's feet... Oh, not Catherine. Sorry, can we just clarify this for a moment? Catherine's feet, be clear, all right? I guarantee you, I put my house on this, Catherine's feet will be like the feet of a Victorian virgin. Okay, she has the feet of a porcelain doll from the Edwardian era. Catherine's feet will be perfection, just great proportion of toe to foot. Because that's what you want. You want the right toe to foot proportion. Some people got very long, spindly toes. I'd say Catherine's got neat, compact toes, which all move in a nice straight line, greatly manicured foot nails. Meghan's feet, I would have thought there's a lot of thick skin on there. I would say they're elephantine would be my prediction. I think that Meghan could step over broken glass uninjured, is how thick the skin on her feet are. I think you're looking at an inch of hard, callous skin. Hard and callous and thick. I think Meghan's got feet like a pair of Dutch clogs. Is it the Dutch or the Norwegians? Is it the Dutch or the Norwegian? I've forgotten, but she's got feet as thick as they're like a pair of clogs. She walks along, dong, 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 dong. I'd say they're calloused. I'd say that they're blemished, and I'd have thought I'd say they're humming. I mean, I don't want to be unkind, but I can't imagine that her foot health is optimal. I think there's bound to be a degree of fungal action going on. I would have thought I'd say with Meghan, I don't wish to be unkind, I would say that we're in a whole world of athlete's foot. Because I think I'm talking Usain Bolt athlete level of foot fungus. And bunions, most certainly, and those toes will be all over the shop. Do you know what I mean? All uneven and meandering like the sort of Mississippi River. Long, spindly, bent toes. And, I mean, I don't know whether there's any calcification in the nail. Let's not go there. But anyhow, all I'm saying, my point here, notwithstanding my speculation about Meghan's podiatal health, the future king doesn't want to see her feet. It's not a beach holiday. This is the Windsor estate, for goodness sakes. Right? This is the residential headquarters of the British royal family. And she's going around barefoot like that Zola Budd lady. Do you remember that runner, the South African runner that went barefoot? She had thick feet, but not as thick as Meghan's. Anyway, so she said she met them in ripped jeans and was barefoot. And she goes on, like, I was a hugger. I've always been a hugger. I didn't realize that is really jarring for a lot of Brits, implying that William, and in particular Catherine, was not a hugger. She goes on, I guess I started to understand very quickly that the formality on the outside carried through on the inside. Why are you making these sweeping judgments about people? How dare you do that sort of cod psychiatry on someone? You know nothing about William and about Catherine, and frankly, you know nothing about the British people. How dare you indulge in this ludicrous brushstroke, broad brush stroke stereotype about the British people. She said, I guess I started to understand very quickly that the formality on the outside carried through on the inside, that there's a forward-facing way of being, and then you close the door and you're like, oh, great, okay, we can relax now. But that formality carries over on both sides, and that was surprising to me. That was surprising to me. Now, what that is extraordinarily passive-aggressive behavior. Because Meghan is an angry and aggressive person, and she is absolutely an expert in passive-aggressive behavior. And that's why she'll make people cry without seeming to do anything, because less is more with these bullies. Surprising. How dare she? So we have the most beautiful answer. Princess Catherine, as I mentioned in the last video, is fighting back. She's having none of this, because Princess Catherine knows that she's going to be queen. And she got the best brother. She got William, who, you know, William versus Harry. William, lean, handsome, intelligent, integrity, caring, hardworking, committed, good-looking, sensational body mass index. And there isn't time to speculate on the quality of William's feet. But let me just speculate that they are bordering on the biblical. I would humbly suggest that William's feet are akin to something from the Bible. So Catherine knows she's won already. That's why she's having so much fun with this. And almost every day now, through her actions, she is subtly trolling her sister-in-law. And she attended the Buckingham Palace garden party, which of course we reported on in the last show. Fantastic stuff. And what did she do? She hugged everyone in a clear message to Meghan. I am a hugger, honey, and you can hug off. It was an incredibly tactile day. She hugged all and sundry because she's such a caring person. She's exactly like Princess Diana, if you ask me. Catherine has the common touch, and she's great at connecting with people. And she interacted with a Holocaust survivor, an emotional meeting with Stephen Frank, whom she'd previously photographed for a Holocaust remembrance project. They embraced warmly. She gave him the biggest hug. What a wonderful moment. And what a connection between two figures from history, someone that survived one of the worst crimes of history and the future Queen of the United Kingdom. That's quite a combination, isn't it? That's quite a union. And it's a beautiful thing. And she hugged so many people that day, and she demonstrated her humanity, her warmth, and the fact that she's tactile, and the fact that Meghan is a complete liar and completely misrepresents people. And once again, she's been proved catastrophically wrong. Now, Harry's in trouble because he's desperate to prop up his ailing reputation in the UK, which, as we know, is shot to pieces. He's made a significant donation to HIMAR. HIMAR is an excellent Nottingham-based social justice charity, tackling poverty, racism and social exclusion. They do great work. It also operates Nottingham's largest independent food bank. So Harry's made a significant donation to this group, HIMAR, which is lovely. Why Nottingham? Nottingham was Harry and Meghan's first official visit as a couple in December 2017, when she served as a frontline royal for 11 minutes before realising it was quite dull and that she didn't like ordinary people. In his message to the charity, he said, "Nottingham holds a special place in my heart. I'm happy to play a small part in your mission." Now, what will the money do? HIMAR confirmed the donation will fund 650 food parcels for struggling families across Nottingham. The charity director, Sajid Mohammed, said, "We were completely gobsmacked and hugely humbled. It touched the trustees, volunteers, staff and service users." So they're full of praise. And of course, I'm delighted that HIMAR exists. It does amazing work, fantastic stuff. By all means, you guys could look up HIMAR, see what they do, make a donation yourselves. I could do the same, no problem. I'm always looking for great causes to support, and HIMAR looks to be one of them. But why has Harry done this? Why has he made a very public donation? First of all, why is it public and not private? Because true generosity is unspoken kindness, unreported kindness. And that is what a member of the royal family would do. That would be discreet. Harry's not discreet. He's basically almost taken out a front page advert to tell the world what a nice guy he is. And here's the thing. A, why is he doing it? Because he knows he's unpopular in this country. So he's trying to buy popularity, which in itself is unethical. But also, how much has he donated? Because if it's $1 million, I think fair play. That's a lot of money. $1 million is a lot of cash. It's a chunk of change, isn't it? $1 million. If I had $1 million, it's money, and it's hard money. And my goodness, you put your money where your mouth is. I think under those circumstances, it's a front page headline. Harry donates $1 million. That's the front page. And that would be a topic on this show. And we would all praise him. But the Mark Dolan show can reveal the true value of Harry's donation, which is undisclosed. I don't want to say how much money I've given away. It's a lot of money, but I don't want to, reveal how much. It's a private matter. It's a private donation, even though I've told everyone about it. Well, the Mark Dolan show has got the calculator out, and we can reveal, we've been doing our sums. According to a report by Third Sector, the donation will fund more than 650 food parcels. Each food parcel costs around $20. Multiplying these figures would suggest that the total donation from Prince Harry, the world's least happy millionaire, who is swimming in cash, the donation is $13,000, which is going to be very welcome in this charity, of course. And I don't reject the principle of a donation to this charity, and every penny happens. But this should not be a world news story, which it's become. For the sum of $13,000, which is loose change for Harry. That is change down the back of the sofa. That is not even a syllable, not a consonant of the advance he received for his dreadful book, Spare. It's not a quarter of a second of Harry and Meghan's traitorous TV show on Netflix, Harry and Meghan. $13,000 is a rounding error. And therefore, I'm so sorry. I don't accept the PR flex on this one. I don't accept the public relations maneuver that we've had from Montecito, California. Not when it costs $13,000 a week just to run the blinking chlorination tank of your swimming pool at that mansion. $13,000 doesn't pay for the toilet roll in your 16 bathrooms. It doesn't pay for any of that stuff. It doesn't pay for Meghan's $400 cashmere sweaters and all the rest of it. So spare me the Good Samaritan act, Harry. I'm not having it. Not on my watch. Now, before we get to Regge, my neighbour's cat, who disturbed my preparations for the show today, Prince William and Princess Catherine are trying to make a difference. So, unlike the shallow Duke and Duchess of Sussex, they have renewed their efforts to make a difference in British society. So, Prince William has visited the Leith Community Centre in Edinburgh. I studied at the University of Edinburgh myself. What a lovely city. Its nickname is Old Reekie because it used to smell because of the brewing. Edinburgh's beautiful. We love it. Capital city of Scotland, of course. Oh, flower of Scotland, when will I see the likes of you again? You're welcome. Put that up your kilt and smoke it, my wee friend. So Prince William visited the Leith Community Centre in Edinburgh. There's a joke, by the way, about Edinburgh and Glasgow. They say that people in Glasgow are generous, people in Edinburgh are not generous. And that when you visit a household in Glasgow, they say, have you had your tea? Tea being dinner. Have you had your tea? That implies that they're offering you a meal. Have you had your tea? In Edinburgh, they say, you'll have had your tea, won't you, son? You'll have had your tea. You've had your tea already. We'll no be cooking here. You'll have had your tea. Okay. Oh, flower of Scotland. Have a wee drambuie. So, William's been to Leith. Edinburgh's a stunning city. I do recommend you go if you can. And it was a collaboration known as Leith United, aiming to revitalise the community centre, use football to address issues like mental health, homelessness and social isolation. Isn't that fantastic? So, I've been reading up on this today, and what Catherine and William are trying to do is they are trying to achieve more than just the cutting of ribbons. What Catherine and William are aiming to do is to be proactive royals as the Prince and Princess of Wales and eventually as King and Queen. Before we go, I want to tell you that this show, a lot goes into it because I owe you so much. This audience, this family of viewers is growing by the day. You are an integral part of a broadcasting revolution. So my duty, my job is to deliver for you, to put a lot of preparation into this show. And it's blood, sweat and tears. I give you guys everything I've got and then some. Unfortunately, sometimes I get distracted by my neighbour's cat, Regge, who comes crashing into the house, disturbing everyone. Sometimes I think he's a fox because he's so furry and brown that I'm not sure what the species is, but I believe it's feline. He's a smashing chap, but he makes it hard for me to get my work done. Here's a brief excerpt from when he impacted my preparations for the show. Earlier today, please forgive the casual attire. It's before I was ready to broadcast, but be rest assured I was not wearing ripped jeans and I was not barefoot. Enjoy. Oh, he's a good boy. Oh dear. So I'm trying to get some work done. And who turns up as I'm preparing the studio for the Mark Dolan show? Regge, my neighbour's cat, who is very affectionate. He's got a big tail. And he lives like down the road, and he's got about, I think, 7 or 8 or 9 properties that he visits. And he's very friendly, but he makes it very hard for me to put this show out because he comes storming into the house through the cat flap and basically treats the place like it's his own. Regge, don't be shy. Come and have a hello to my many viewers. And can you please let me put the show up? By the way, can I ask you what you think of Meghan and Harry? Are you a fan? Do you think, this is very difficult. It's very unprofessional. Okay. Regge sends his love.